So, Coach Bobby Johnson, all right, offensive line coach for those who may not know for the Washington Commanders. So, first, how are you?
I am great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, doing well.
Good.
Got a couple of questions for you. Last year was the first year for you all being together here, and most of the staff has stayed together. So, can you share a bit from your perspective about the culture of this organization?
Well, I mean, DQ and AP have built a really special environment here. The culture here is unbelievable. This is probably the first staff I've been on in 15 seasons of the NFL that you really didn't have a staff change. And I think it speaks to that culture where guys realize, obviously, winning has a lot to do with it and having good players. But I think just the work environment amongst the staff, but also coaches to players, players to coaches, players to players, all that. It's a place where you enjoy coming to work and working hard together because it's a hard job to do. And the fact that you enjoy coming in and doing that hard work with a group of guys, I think that makes it even more special. I think having not had any staff turnover, the continuity, where we're at, going into year two, being able to speak the same language and everybody knowing, the language, the culture, the standards, the expectations, the system, all those things combined, I think it makes it a lot smoother for us to kind of progress because we're all on the same page, from day one.
And so, last year we heard a bit about the collaborative approach that you all have. So can you give an example of what that collaborative approach looks like from your position and your role?
I think when we go into just talking about how we want to set up the off season, I think the fact that we can kind of bounce ideas off of one another, and you got a bunch of different perspectives. We all came from different places. I don't think there was anybody on offense that could really work together prior to getting here. So we all have different experiences. So you find the way you've always done it might not be the best way for here. And I think the collaborative effort kind of helps in that process of where we come up with an idea and guys can have a bunch of different perspectives. They think, well, we did it like this, someplace else I was at. And you get a collection and you kind of find okay, well, the personnel I had at this place was different than what we have here, but the people that so-and-so had at a different place more fits us. So, hey, let's try it that way. And you kind of have the answers to the test. Somebody may have tried it a different way and go, well, here's what we found why it didn't work for us, and here's how we adjusted it. So I think that collaborative effort kind of helps us exhaust all the possibilities, find the best way for us here, and you kind of get to the solution without having to go through some of the growing pains. Like I said, you kind of get the answers to the test, which is always very beneficial.
And one more from me. So what do you want to see more of out of your position group this season?
I think anytime you go from year one to year two or from year to year, you want to see growth in a lot of different forms for my group. Communication is a big thing for us. So you'll hear sometimes if you're a press, you hear our guys like, all right, boys, good comms today. They just want to be able to communicate. We're a year together. So some of the things that maybe we had to work through communication-wise should be, kind of, I don't know the best way to say it, should be kind of automatic with us. I want to see guys understand the system and taking the next step of, hey, how do we problem solve? Instead of having a problem come up and then us having to adjust it after practice in the meeting room, being able to problem solve in practice. Hey, they see a look and be able to communicate and solve the problem before the ball is snapped. Those are the things that I want to see us move forward. And I see us doing it now just because guys are a year in and they kind of know where the bones are buried, so to speak.
Thank you.
No problem.
Offensive line coach Daryl Tapp. How are you today?
Doing good.
Very good. So, look, a lot of conversation around Deron Payne and what he is bringing already to the voluntary OTA session. Right. So can you share a bit about what you've seen from him from last year to this year, the growth in Deron?
Deron's an alpha male. Alpha of alphas. Just his mindset to come to work. Now, he had the same thing last year, the way he was really coming in, focused and ready to go. But him having the opportunity to be around myself, around Kerrigan, around Sharif Floyd for a second consecutive year and understand what it is that we want to do, he's been taking that thing and running with it. To the point to where he's correcting guys before I even get a chance to say something to him because he knows what the vision is. He was able to see us have success last year. It's not just trying to paint a picture for him. He was able to see it come to life. And he sees how he fits within the defensive scheme, what we're asking for him to do. And like I say, he's just completely taken over. His mindset each and every day, it's not about contract. It's not about anything like that. It's about him getting better each and every day, 1%.
Now, he did mention you yesterday in his
he
presser. He did. He
That's
said
my guy right
he
there.
said that you challenged him to be a leader.
I did.
So can you talk a little bit about that conversation?
Well, he was always a leader, but Deron leads by example. I was challenging him to be a little bit more vocal. As you young ladies know, this is a player's game. I played it, but I'm no longer a player. So at a certain point, the players have to take this thing over and control it and demand it. When things need to be said, it can't be me all the time. I'm going to do my part, but they're the ones out there putting their hand in the dirt. They're the ones taking on the blocks. Like, they have to take it over. And they have to take the coaching points and philosophies and techniques and all the things that we're giving them and make that stuff come to life on the field. So that's what he's really been taking a hold of. Dorrance Armstrong, another guy was here last year and sees the vision and sees how it comes together. He's been leading in the classroom. Cleveland Farrell, now the two puppies we had last year, and Jerzon Newton and Javonte Jean-Baptiste, they know what it is. So they've been helping Dietrich. They've been helping Jacob Martin come together. And then with Kinlaw, we already have a relationship from San Fran. So being able to spoon feed him what the defense is and for his natural ability to take over, it's just been a really cool room to be a part of for these last 5 weeks of off season. And I'm excited to see what we can really do when the bullets really start flying.
I'm standing here with Coach Brian Johnson. Brian, can you share your title? Is he Assistant Offensive Coordinator?
Yeah, Assistant Head Coach.
Assistant Head Coach.
Coordinator.
Tell us a little bit about your role as it relates to in the game or just preparation for the game.
Yeah, I mean it's a very unique role in terms of wearing a bunch of different hats and just generally being a helping hand wherever I can. Obviously my expertise and what I've done the majority of my career has been pretty quarterback driven, but in terms of my role, I've been able to be around every position group and be around Q a lot, and he's been very, very intentional in terms of specific tasks that he'd like me to get accomplished, and it's been fun. It's really been a unique role in terms of being able to have kind of a big picture view of what we're doing offensively.
So you just mentioned that you've been able to be around every position group, and sometimes at practice I witnessed that, and I'm like, not so much of what do you do, right? Because you just explained it, and I've kind of done some back research as well. But so when you are, say, engaging with the defensive side of the ball, what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, I think that part has probably been the most beneficial in terms of being able to throw different ideas and just provide a different set of eyes. I mean, I think when you talk about intermixing the offense and the defense, of seeing things from a different lens. If you have this disguise, we may attack you like this, and just being able, like I said, just to provide a helping hand. We have a great defensive staff, but I've really enjoyed being able to talk ball with those guys and compete with them on the practice field.
So there's a lot of talk. There was a lot of talk about this coaching staff coming together last year, but then just the rare kind of happening that you all basically stayed together. So can you talk about a little bit more about the why you all decided to stay together for year two?
Yeah, I think the biggest deal is the people. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a people profession, and we have great people here, and I think everybody realizes that, and everybody is aware of that. And it's great to come in the building every single day. Everybody's super fired up to be here. The energy is fantastic, and it's really good football coaches and really good players. So it's been a place where everybody enjoys being here, and I think it's just a testament to the culture that DQ and AP have built here, and I don't see that changing.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it.
Here with quarterbacks coach Tavita Pritchard. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Okay.
Yes, I'm doing
Yeah,
great.
we had some good kind of laughs before we got started. So Let's just get right to it. Jaden Daniels is like a hot topic. There's never a day I go into my social media feed and do not see a Jaden Daniels post.
Yes.
So, what has it been like coaching and a talent like Jaden?
Jaden's a joy to work with. He really is. You know, and the way he comes to work every day, the competitor he is, the connector he is. You know, it's been a lot of fun to be around and see him lead. You know, see him really kind of put his stamp on this franchise in just a year. You know, and so it's been fun, both kind of in the macro, you know, but also just being in our quarterback room, you know, and getting to kind of, you know, hear his thoughts, hear how he thinks about the game, as well as with the rest of the guys. You know, Marcus Mariota, Sam Hartman, Josh Johnson. Just hearing those guys interact, hearing kind of how we get down in there, you know, has been a lot of fun as well.
And so maybe you already saw my script, because I was going to ask you about the quarterback's room and see how
we're vibing, you know.
See how you all get down. I mean, oftentimes you don't see 4 quarterbacks, right? And everybody was 4 last year, right? It's still 4 right now. So talk a little bit about that, about the importance of having that continuity across the quarterback's room.
Yeah, I think continuity is important in general. You know, but specifically when you talk about, you know, an offensive system and a quarterback existing in that, just to know what to expect, right? Just to know, hey, here's how we attack people, here's the structure, here's how we call plays, here's the snap count, here's the progressions. You know, I mean, I think being able to walk into that in year 2 for Jaden goes a long way, you know, and I was just talking about this with somebody else, but even just the foundation of the trust that we have, the relationship that we've built, you know, not just Jaden and I, but with Marcus, with Sam, with David Blau, with Brian, with Cliff. You know, there's just so much synergy that can take place more immediately when you have that foundation of trust. You know, and so I think being where we are now, it's been fun to kind of start at this place, you know, once everyone got back, because we did have that strong foundation built.
So last season we heard a bit about this staff and your collaborative approach.
Yes.
So from your role as the quarterback's coach, what does that collaborative approach look like? Just an example.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think one example is, and you know, it's part of Cliff's philosophy, and I know it comes from Coach Mike Leach, and just like how interactive he is with the players, and therefore us, on just like, hey, how do you guys think about this footwork? Maybe to drop on a certain player, to throw a certain route. And so he's very open to, you know, different ideas from different people with different backgrounds and different offenses. And so I think when you approach it that way, you know, I love the quote, like, all of us are smarter than one of us, right? It's like you could have one person that's extremely knowledgeable in one thing, or extremely knowledgeable in general in football, but like he's not smarter than his knowledge plus his. You know, so I think that idea really persists throughout our staff. And obviously the tone is set by DQ and then Cliff, you know, to be able to say and have that lack of an ego to say, hey man, like, I want your ideas, I want to hear your thoughts.
And so this season then, right, I mean, you have 3 of your 4 quarterbacks are going into year 2. You have one, you know, Josh Johnson, who's come in. But what do you want to see more of from the quarterback room? From
the group? What do I want to see more of? You know, I think the really interesting thing about the dynamic about the quarterback position is, as we know, there's one out there, right? And so there's you really have to develop the ability to compete in an atmosphere where it's not like other spots where it's like, hey, there's going to be 4 D linemen out there, so we're all competing for plays. It's like, well, there's one quarterback out there, you know. So my short answer is, I want to see our guys continue to compete, you know, so that we can just keep getting better every single day. And really, that's what it becomes at the quarterback position. It's like, hey, what do I need to work on? What's the thing that I need to go out there and prove today in practice or in this stretch of OTAs, so that I can get that 1% better, you know. So it's staying competitive at a position where it's a little bit different in how you have to think about it, you know. And I appreciate our room and their approach, But that's what I would say is just continue to do that.
And so with that, that was going to be my last one, but I thought about something else.
Yeah.
Last season, and I'm sure you were on the sideline, so you know way more than I do. We're sitting upstairs, and y'all are down there. The last regular season game, the Dallas game, and Marcus comes in.
Yep.
And I asked Jaden about this in the press conference because it seemed like he was the biggest Commanders fan in AT&T Stadium. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at Jaden.
Yes.
So when you see that relationship and how it grows, of course, everyone, it went viral about, the Atlanta Falcons game, all of that. For you as a coach, how does that make you feel? Because there's always conversations about someone coming to take someone's job or competition within the room in a negative way. So how does that make you feel?
Yeah, I think the other quote that makes me think of is like being competitive and not combative. Like that being of value, because like we're all extremely competitive. I mean, everyone in that quarterback room, to the point where whether it's cards or darts or throwing it into the net or into the bucket, like we're going to compete. But that doesn't also have to mean that we're butting heads with each other. That process can be going back. It can be a collaborative one. It can be one where like we know why we're competing. We're competing to make each other better. And so I think what you're seeing there is the fruits of a lot of hard work and intentionality to build those real relationships and those real connections. Because when they do see each other out there, when Jaden sees Marcus out there, or Marcus does walk up to Jaden, like it makes me feel good as a coach. That's something that we've built, that we've helped build and cultivate that trust, that relationship that those guys can pour into each other that way when the other one's on the field. And there's an immense amount of trust that takes place in those moments.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm standing here with Washington Commanders running back coach Anthony Lynn. And Coach Lynn, I feel like I have to always remind people, Coach Anthony Lynn was a head coach in this league. So talk about, just with all of your experience, how that truly kind of inserts and illuminates, even in your role as the running back now as a position coach here. Like, do you all kind of just... Are you able to share? We always hear about the collaborative approach to what you all do. So how are you able to still kind of bring that leadership role and title, here with the Commanders?
Well, Coach Quinn always sets the stage for that. He pick and choose when he wants to put someone in front of his team and what message he wants them to say to his team. And I'm here to just help any way I can, the running back room, the defense, well, whoever. I talk to a lot of players on this football team, but I mainly focus on my room. I got a good group, and I think the competition is good in there. And real pleased with the rookie that we brought in and how he's looking. I'm looking forward to training camp. We get the pass on and start playing a little real ball and see what these guys can do.
So speaking of the rookie, I know he told me immediately when I introduced myself to call him Bill. So
isn't that something? Bill.
Yes. Yeah. So share what you've seen so far from him.
He's such a hard worker, and you can tell that he doesn't take anything for granted. And right now he's thinking, though, like all rookies are. Usually around that third week of training camp, you see their real skill, their real talent. And because they're not thinking, they're playing, they're reacting. And so, but he's on track for that. And I've been pleased with what I've seen so far.
And so then you're talking about or asking about the rookie you all drafted, then with some of the vets, so Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler, Jeremy McNichols, Chris Rodriguez. What are you seeing from that group? I know you all came together last year, and so then this year too. So what have you seen so far from them?
What I've seen them a tighter brotherhood. Number one, it is a tight knit group, and they're all here working. They don't have to be here. This is all voluntary, but they're here working, and they're healthy. And these boys are healthy. These boys can play. And, Brian was banged up last year, played in some games he probably shouldn't have played in. Austin missed some games last year. But I thought Jeremy came in, and I thought Chris Rodriguez came in, and I thought they did a heck of a job of picking up the slack. And now you've got Kaz, who came over from the wide receiver room. He's working with us in the backfield now. Mike Wiley's had one of the better off seasons, all the backs now. And then we bring in Dimitri Felton. So we're looking at some pretty good competition. And I like those things that I can't coach. There's competition and speed.
And so going back to the point of coaching and coaching staff, we've often heard about the collaborative approach that you all have. So in your role as the running backs coach, what's an example of how you collaborate with the other coaches?
You know, we all talk execution-wise. What can we do better? You know, we always looking at our process, trying to detail the process. That's probably where I've been there and done it for so many years. Where I can help the most. It's just the process. Well, sometimes you can get caught up in winning, but if you have a good process, winning is a byproduct of that.
Then we go back to your position group, your players. What do you want to see more of from the running backs room this season?
Well, I like to see us stay a little healthier, and I like to see us. You know, we talked about this a little bit. I like to see guys. Guys are always ready to play, but when you've played in this system, you have to be able to give us the juice whenever you touch the ball, whether it's a carry or whether it's a catch. It's hard to be a volume back and be in this system because this system is designed to take what the defense give you. For example, there was a run play in that Detroit game when we threw that ball out to Terry and he ran for 70 yards. That was originally a run call. But they gave us the matchup outside. We took it, and we made a hell of a play to help us win the game right there. And so that's just the way this offense is designed. I'm learning a lot in this offense. Been in it for the first time. It's really intriguing. But you got to be ready to go when your number is called, and not worry about getting your touches and all that.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much.
Sure.